Hi, I'm Buck Weimer. Part 3 of the Urantia book, The History of Urantia, gives us 63 papers of the most diverse topics imaginable, ranging from the Earth's origins, the first humans, Lucifer, the Garden of Eden, family life, prayer, religious experience, thought adjusters, personality survival, and ending with the bestowals of Christ Michael. Just before the ending of Part 3, the authors present us with 4 papers on the Supreme: the Supreme Being, the Almighty Supreme, God the Supreme, and the Supreme and Ultimate. These papers, while enlightening and engaging, are also deeply complex, with a breathtaking look at time, space, and the multi-level array of personalities. While giving attention to all aspects of the Supreme, our discussion will focus primarily on the Supreme Being. We will ask and seek answers to 2 questions. 1, why is it important for us to understand the Supreme Being? And 2, how do we as mortals contribute to the growth of the Supreme Being? To begin, the Supreme Being is, by definition, an evolutionary God of experience, and is still in the process of becoming. This means the Supreme Being had a beginning, is now growing, but will have no end. This is pure revelation. For the first time, the world may have a consistent philosophy with which to view the cosmos, where the infinite and the finite are woven together into a whole picture. And from a mind perspective, the comprehension of the Supreme is the maximum understanding of deity we can achieve as evolutionary beings. To expand our understanding of the finite God requires our consideration of the source, function, and destiny, while keeping in mind the Urantia book quote: "The narrative of human ascent from the mortal spheres of time to the divine realms of eternity should be the supreme study of mortal man. To look at the source, we must use a sequence of thought, because this was before time began. All of everything began with God as the I Am, the uncaused cause of all of everything, and the original premise from which humans can form a universe frame in which to comprehend time and space and personalities. So the God of the I Am embarked upon the great adventure of liberation, of escaping from the limitations of being all of everything. Sound like the beginning of a pattern here? We all want to be more than what we are. First, God became a father by creating the eternal Son. Now, simultaneously, the Isle of Paradise came into existence, the stationary center of all creation. Another key revelation in the Urantia book is when a being comes into existence, there is always a physical abode, place of residence for them to live and from which to function. Now, in our sequence of thought, the infinite Spirit came into being, co-created by the Father and Son. Simultaneously, the 21 sacred spheres in their 3 circuits around the Isle of Paradise came into existence, and the billion perfect worlds rotating in 7 circuits around paradise also came into existence. We now have the 3 persons of deity, Father, Son, and Spirit, and a unified existential trinity and a central universe from which to operate. This original trinity is the actual source of the Supreme Being. This is called the Age of Havona, and commonly called the First Universe Age. But before moving into the Age of the Supreme and the Second Universe Age, it is necessary to be aware of 2 additional groups of beings: the 7 Absolutes and the Architects of the Master Universe. The 7 Absolutes look like this. Number 1, the Universal Father, the original source of all love. Number 2, the Eternal Son, the actual source of all spirit. Number 3, the infinite spirit, the actual source of all mind. And number 4, paradise, the actual source of all material and energy. Number 5, the deity absolute, the potential source of all spirit. Number 6, the universal absolute, the potential source of all mind. And number 7, the unqualified absolute, the potential source of all energy and matter. The eternal sun, infinite spirit, and paradise represent the triodity of actuals, while the absolutes of the deity, universal, and unqualified represent the triodity of potentials. The distinction between a trinity and a triodity is that in a trinity, the Father is present. In a triodity, the Father is absent. These triodities are important of understanding because the entire scheme of the Supreme Being and finite growth is predicated on the transference of potentials into actuals, the potentials of spirit, mind, and matter into actuals of spirit, mind, and matter. Lastly are the architects of the master universe. The papers tell us very little about these important personalities. What we do know is that they are eventuated beings, not created, and came into existence as a result of God's thinking about his plans for the central, grand, and master universes. The master architects contain the blueprints for all creation and are the inceptors of these plans, and work very closely with the creator sons of the local universes. How the Supreme Being functions in the second universe age. The second universe age has had a beginning in time and will someday have an end. But the Supreme Being, as an incomplete but evolving deity, had a beginning but will have no end. In time, the Supreme Being and all the beings in the grand universe will become perfected through the growth process of experiencing in time and space. Hence, it is deemed experiential, the God of experience in the age of experience. For clarity and to seek consistency for attempting to understand the supreme whole, let us briefly define the following 3 terms. God the Supreme. God the Supreme was created by the Paradise Trinity and is resident on the pilot world of the 7th or outer circuit of the Havona worlds. We are reminded in the foreword of when the word God is used in the papers, it always indicates the presence of personality. God the Supreme was actually present in Havona before the super-universes came into existence. The Almighty Supreme is the power and non-personal aspect of the Supreme Whole and is resident throughout the 7 super-universes. It is the energy and physical reality of the grand universe and is mechanical as well as a living organism, much like a human body, with all its electrical and chemical reactions pulsating at any given moment. The Almighty Supreme is growing and is the over-controller of the physical power of the grand universe. The Supreme Mind. The Supreme Mind is from the Infinite Spirit. It joins the spirit personality of God the Supreme with the power prerogatives of the Almighty Supreme to become the essence of growth, called power personality synthesis. The papers tell us very little about the Supreme Mind, but it does say the Supreme Mind is controlled through the 7 master spirits and factualized in Majestan, the only person created by the Supreme Being. We do know that mind ever seeks dominance over energy with the guidance of spirit. So, the Almighty Supreme is the power, God the Supreme is the personality, and the Supreme Being is the synthesis. And this equals the Supreme Whole, all of which, of course, is guided by the Supreme Mind. The Supreme Being is a being, much like a human being, except this being is a God, a finite God. The source of this being is the Paradise Trinity. The source of the growth of the Supreme Being is dependent on the triodities. Knowing our creators and administrators are finite and imperfect helps with our coming to terms with the inconsistencies, inequalities, and paradoxes of mortal life, and is one of the answers to the question, why do bad things happen? And although the gendered identity used by the authors for deities is typically male, the Supreme Being is several times referred to as our mother, as in this quote, "As God is your divine father, so is the Supreme your divine mother. She is not a creator, except as the parent of Majeston, and Majeston is the center of universe reflectivity, a process by which our mother is aware of all things at all times, and the authors hint it may be the consciousness of the Supreme Being." Does this sound familiar? Mothers have a way of knowing about their children, even if miles away. As the cosmic oversoul of the grand universe, we literally live and have our being in her. No one ascending mortal will meet the Supreme Being until all ascenders meet her together, at the moment when the 7 super universes are settled in light and life.